I never thought I'd end up here. Alone, in this locked room, cold metal chair under me, my hands shaking. Not from fear, no, that came later. At first, there was only curiosity. I'd always been a quiet guy, spent most nights in front of a screen. Didn't drink, didn't party. I had a decent job as a systems analyst. But my real thrill was hunting. Not animals. Information. The darker, the better. You can only read so many conspiracy threads before it gets boring. That's when I went deeper. Below the clear web. Into the Tor network. Anonymous markets, encrypted chat rooms, ghost forums. Most of it was scams or lunatics role-playing like they were in a spy thriller. But then I found a place called Knotvale. It wasn't a forum. It was an index. No graphics, just names, each one hyperlinked. Hundreds of entries, all with cryptic titles. Pain Language 04, Skinstream, Don't Blink. Session Door 43. That last one had a red dot next to it, blinking. I clicked it. The screen turned black. Text appeared. Blocky, blinking, blood red. Welcome, observer. This session is active. Please confirm participation. YN, I typed Y. I shouldn't have. The screen lit up like a stream loading. No buffering, no delay. It felt too real, too present. The camera showed a room, gray concrete, no windows, ceiling fan spinning slowly above, one single metal chair in the middle, dried stains across the floor, brownish, old. At the far end was a steel door painted red. A man sat in the chair, bound at the wrists, head slumped, shirtless, breathing barely. A voice whispered in my headphones, not over the stream, directly, in stereo. Would you like to watch him suffer? I didn't answer. The screen flickered. A new window opened beside the stream. A chat box, people were already typing. User 79. He's been under for 2 days. Skinner. Wake him up, let's begin. Host 43. Waiting for observer input. Then the poll appeared. How should session year 43 begin? Cold shock, electrodes. Tooth removal. Wake without pain. A timer ticked down. 30 seconds. I moved my mouse to wake without pain. At least that felt humane. The bar flashed red. Majority vote, tooth removal. My cursor didn't matter. A figure entered from the red door. Fully masked. Covered head to toe in black. They rolled a small cart. Stainless steel tools glimmered under fluorescent lights. The man woke up screaming. I tried to exit. Alt plus F4, power button. Nothing worked. Still screaming. Still watching. Then the voice came again. You are a part of this now. Welcome to the red feed. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. The feed stayed on. Even when I shut the lid, powered off the machine, removed the battery, the screen came back. Always at 3:03 a.m. Different people each time. Bound, broken, crying. The masked figure was always the same. Sometimes they looked straight into the camera, as if they knew I was there, watching, like they could see me. Then, on the third night, the stream showed my bedroom. I swear to God, my walls, my desk, my posters, my bed. And someone was lying in it. It wasn't me, but it looked like me, naked, asleep, hands chained to the frame. The red door opened behind the dresser. The masked figure entered. I turned away. I heard the screaming anyway. I trashed the computer, burned the hard drive, bought a new one. Still, the feed returned. One night, I received an email. From Session 43 Deet Veiled Watch BZ. Subject, Final Phase, Transition. Body, you've been promoted. Observer status upgraded. Participant. Session begins at 3:03 a.m. Your presence is required. Attached a QR code. I should have ignored it. But part of me needed to know. I scanned it. A map appeared. Coordinates not far from the city. An abandoned warehouse. The message blinked once more. Entry granted. Door will open. Red latch. Do not speak. I went. I can't explain why. I told myself it was to expose them. Record evidence. Call the cops. But the truth is, I wanted to see it for myself. I arrived at 2:58 a.m. The warehouse looked empty. Graffiti. Broken windows. One single red door on the side. At exactly 3:03 a.m., it creaked open. No one was there. Only a hallway. Red lights overhead. I followed them, my steps echoing. Down a stairwell. Into the dark. Then another door. Steel, thick, red. A latch clicked open. I stepped in. The room from the feed. Exactly the same. Concrete walls, metal chair, chains, and a desk in the corner with a monitor already running. The stream was active, but this time it showed me, standing in the room, camera angle from above. Then a panel slid open in the wall, a small box inside. Inside it, a porcelain mask, just like the host, and a note. Put it on. You're not the observer anymore. I didn't want to, but my hands moved anyway. I put the mask on. The door behind me opened. A man was pushed inside, blindfolded, tied, bleeding. Then the monitor blinked. A new message appeared on screen. Session 443 ready, awaiting your actions. Below it, the poll. Begin with knife, pliers, branding iron, kindness. I hovered over kindness. The other votes poured in. Kindness, 1 knife, 742. The man screamed before I touched him. I don't remember what I did. Not clearly, just flashes. Steel, heat, bone. The smell, the sound of things breaking. The mask felt tighter the longer I wore it. Like it wasn't just a costume. Like it was growing into me. When it was over, the stream ended. The lights cut out. And a voice said, "Congratulations, host. Session complete, awaiting next participant." The door opened again. This time a woman. Sobbing. Muffled cries. Tied up. I dropped the tools and ran. I didn't look back. That was 3 months ago. I haven't told anyone. Who would believe me? I destroyed the mask. Or tried to. Burned it. Threw it into the river. Still, every night I find it. In the kitchen, on the couch, once on my pillow. And every night, the stream returns. Sometimes I'm the host. Sometimes I'm the one in the chair. And sometimes I'm both. I thought I'd seen everything the internet had to offer. My name's Aaron. I'm 24, a freelance coder, and I spend most of my waking hours in front of a screen. I've always had a thing for the darker corners of the internet. The hidden forums, obscure .onion sites. I don't buy drugs or guns or anything illegal. I just watch. I tell myself it's curiosity, but deep down I know better. It started 2 months ago when I got an email with no sender. The subject line was just 3 words. You are invited. The body was even shorter. Room 147 XVTD Onion. Password, deterrent. No explanation, no attachments, just that. I almost deleted it, but I didn't. I booted into Tails, routed through multiple VPNs, and accessed Tor. The link opened to a completely black page. At the center was a white cursor blinking like a heartbeat. After a few seconds, a message appeared. Welcome, observer. Enter password. I typed deterrent. The screen flickered. Verifying. Then, access granted. You may watch, but you may not intervene. Do not look away. A video feed loaded. It showed a room. Small, square, all concrete. Harsh overhead light, 1 metal chair, 1 steel drain, and a large red door on the far wall with no handle. Just a latch. A man sat in the chair, slumped, breathing. A timer in the corner counted down from 0:02:59. I watched, frozen. At 0, a sound echoed, a deep metallic clang. The red door opened. Someone stepped through. The figure wore a full-body black suit and a smooth white mask with no mouth, just 2 holes for eyes. They moved slowly, deliberately. In their hand was a silver case. They opened it beside the man and took out a scalpel. He began to wake up. His eyes fluttered, then widened. He screamed. The chat feed to the right of the screen lit up. Observer 3881. Clean cuts today. Nice. User X9. Is he the politician? Admin. Session 147 is classified. No identifiers. Observer 4910. Starting with the face again. Then a poll popped up. Where to begin? Cheek. Eyelid. Palm. Rib. The timer ticked down from 10 seconds. I didn't vote. Most picked eyelid. The masked figure didn't hesitate. The scalpel gleamed. I won't describe what happened next. Let's just say I closed the laptop. But that didn't stop it. When I turned it on the next day, the video was still running. Only now the room was empty. The chair was clean. No blood. No signs of the previous night. Except the red door was wide open. Darkness beyond. Then something new appeared on the screen. Session complete. Would you like to watch another? When I chose N, the screen didn't change. Instead, a new message appeared. You were not given a choice. The video began to glitch. Brief frames of something, of someone. Faces stitched together, limbs bending backward. A static voice whispering, "Observer, observer." I yanked the battery out. That night at 3:03 a.m., I woke up. The room was freezing. My computer was on. The stream had returned. But now the feed was from inside my apartment. It showed me, lying in bed. The camera panned slightly, as if being held by a person walking closer. The angle zoomed toward my face. I turned toward the screen instinctively, and the figure on the feed did too. A perfect mirror of my movement. Then it glitched, just for a second, and in that moment I saw behind me. The red door wide open. The next day, I found a note under my front door. Handwritten, smudged with something brown. You are now Observer 5000. Room 148 awaits. No signature, just a symbol. A red circle with a slash through it, like a camera lens. I didn't leave my house after that. Didn't open my blinds. Unplugged everything. Sold my phone. Cut the cable. But none of it mattered. At 3:03 a.m., my walls whispered. Soft voices, impossible to place. Don't look away. You said yes. One more vote. I stayed awake 3 days straight. On the fourth night, I passed out. When I woke, my laptop was open. On my lap. The video feed was frozen. It showed me sitting in the chair. Red door behind me. My own eyes gouged out. I went to the police. I told them everything, except the parts that would get me institutionalized. They took my name, my statement. Then one of the officers looked at me. His eyes held mine too long. He smiled and slid a piece of paper across the desk. It read, "Room 149 begins at 3:03. Your attendance is mandatory." He winked. I don't leave anymore. I don't eat much. I unplugged every screen, but they still find me. Sometimes in puddles, sometimes in mirrors, sometimes in my own eyes, and always at 3:03 a.m. Last night, a man appeared in the hallway outside my apartment, dressed in black, no face. He held a mirror and showed me what was on the other side. Not my reflection, just the red room, empty chair. Then, a message scratched into the wall behind it. You are no longer the observer. I don't know what happens next. I'm writing this on paper. I'll leave it where someone will find it. Because if you get that link, if you see the red door, don't click, don't watch, don't stay. And whatever you do, don't vote. Because once you see them, they see you too. And once they see you, they never look away. Most people don't believe in red rooms. They say they're just stories. Urban legends for edgy teenagers trying to be scared. I used to think that too. Until I found Session Room 39. Now I don't sleep. I don't use the internet. I don't go near screens unless I have to. Because I know what's out there. And I know they saw me watching. It started one night when I was doom scrolling through obscure tech forums on the dark web. I used Tor, like most people in InfoSec do. Mostly I just poke around. Not for drugs or hitmen. That stuff's mostly bait. I like the challenge of access. Getting into invite-only forums, solving encryption puzzles, finding files no one had opened in years. One thread caught my eye. It was on a dead site called veilthread.onion. No graphics, just plain text forums with numeric thread titles. Thread 172. Has anyone survived room 39? There were 2 replies. Deleted. You don't survive it. You're uploaded. Dental. Don't confirm invite. Don't watch the full timer. Beneath that was a link. Room 39 session onion. And one word. Ready? I should have stopped. I wasn't even looking for horror stuff that night. But the link worked. Black screen. 1 line of text. Session room 39. Limited viewing. 1 slot open. Then, are you ready? YN, I don't know why, but I clicked Y. The screen went red, then loaded a live stream. No buffering, no login. A small room came into view. Gray cement walls, red ambient lighting, 1 metal chair, a drain in the floor. A figure sat in the chair, hands tied behind their back, black bag over the head. At the top of the screen, session, start, Suriyawaran current viewers, 1. Me, there was no chat, no votes, no sounds. Just the figure twitching slightly. The timer began ticking. At exactly 001 mir, the door at the far end creaked open. Someone walked in. No mask, no costume, just a plain dark hoodie and leather gloves. Their face was blurred like an algorithm was distorting it in real time. They circled the victim slow, precise, then pulled out a thin ice pick. I instinctively tried to close the window. Nothing worked. The browser didn't respond. The computer didn't respond. It was like I had lost control. I yanked the power cord. The screen stayed on. The attacker placed the ice pick at the base of the victim's neck. A small movement, barely visible. The man in the chair began to convulse. The attacker leaned in and whispered something into his ear. The stream cut to black. 1 line of text replaced it. You watched. You joined. Timer synced. Then another. Do not exit early again. I didn't know what that meant until the next night. At 3:03 a.m., my laptop turned itself on. I had shut it off. It wasn't plugged in. The battery was out. I know, because I checked it 10 times after what I saw. But at exactly 3:03, the fan began to whir. The stream loaded again, automatically, full screen. This time it wasn't room 39. It was my bedroom, from the angle of the closet. I saw myself asleep. Then the door creaked open behind me, and a figure stepped in. Same hoodie, same gloves, face blurred. They stood over my bed for exactly 1 minute. Then the stream cut to static. I moved the next day. New apartment, new hardware. Didn't connect anything I had before. Tossed the old laptop in a river. But the next night, same time, the screen of my TV lit up. Room 39 again, same layout. Only now, the person tied to the chair looked familiar. He had a tattoo on his left arm. The same one my older brother had. I hadn't spoken to him in a year. We'd had a falling out after our dad died. I called his number, straight to voicemail. I drove 4 hours that night to his house. His car was in the driveway. His front door was unlocked. Inside, the TV was on. Room 39, stream live. No sound, just the timer counting down. I unplugged the power, yanked the cord, still running. I grabbed a lamp and smashed the screen. Then I heard it. A soft ding, and a new message on his desktop computer. Timer reset. New subject acquired. Observer 02. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've received packages, all unlabeled. First was a VHS tape, even though I don't own a VHS player. I had to go buy one at a pawn shop just to see what was on it. The tape began with static, then cut to footage of me. Footage I'd never filmed. Me watching the stream. Me unplugging my laptop. Me in the car. The angles were impossible, from places I hadn't noticed. Corners of ceilings. Inside air vents. Then the tape cut to room 39 again. This time the person in the chair was me. It wasn't a recording. I was blinking. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. Then someone behind me, off-screen, raised a black hood. And the stream ended. I tried telling the police. They looked at me like I was insane. They searched my brother's house. Found nothing. Said he probably just left town. They didn't understand what leaving meant. You don't leave room 39. Once you've watched a full session, you're logged, synced, cataloged. You become part of the archive. I know they're watching me now. The blur-faced man. He's real. I've seen him in reflections, in bus windows, in the dark corners of subway tunnels. Sometimes I dream I'm back in the chair. Sometimes I dream I'm him, holding the ice pick. And sometimes I'm neither. Sometimes I'm the red door, waiting to open. 2 days ago, I woke up with my laptop open, not the one I threw in the river. A new one, identical to the last. Open to room 39. And a blinking prompt. Session 40 begins tonight. You are the host. I tried to walk away, but my body didn't respond. My hands hovered over the keyboard like I was typing, but I wasn't. A new timer appeared. Countdown to session 063211. Under it, your subject has been selected. They are watching now. Don't disappoint us. I'm writing this on paper. I'll burn it after. If you ever see a link to session room 39, don't click. Don't open it, no matter how curious you are. Because once the timer starts, it never really ends. Not for you, not for anyone. I still don't know if I was complicit. That's the worst part. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't touch anyone. All I did was watch. My name's Isaac. I'm 27. I used to be a computer science graduate student. I spent most nights alone, eating takeout, bouncing between GitHub and Discord, with side trips down weird internet rabbit holes, old GeoCities archives, long-dead IRCs, ghost forums about forgotten games. One night, I found a thread on a hidden board called Obsidian Flood. It wasn't linked anywhere. No Google results. I only stumbled on it through a series of Tor redirects inside an Onion directory buried 5 levels deep. There were only 3 posts. Post number 1, by user Requiem. This is real, not an ARG, not a puzzle, not a game. Room 74 is live. Post number 2, by user Wedgefilth. I watched once. I still see him in mirrors. Post number 3, a hyperlink. Stipur 7474 Crimsonet Onion. No title, no password, no context. I know how this sounds. I should have ignored it. But my hand moved before I could second-guess myself. The link opened to a black screen. Nothing but a blinking prompt. Connecting to room 74. Then, in red, you have 74 seconds to leave. If the stream completes, you are marked. A countdown began in the top corner. 74. 73. 72. I should have closed the browser. But the screen was black. It didn't even look real. It felt like some psychological experiment or a shock site waiting to load. When the timer hit 0, everything changed. The screen went white for a moment, then resolved into a video feed. The room was completely white, sterile, like an operating room stripped of all life. Bright overhead lights, a drain in the center of the floor, a steel chair bolted down, cameras in every corner. Someone sat in the chair, barefoot, shirtless, head covered by a black hood. Then came a sound, like distant metal clanging, and the lights dimmed. The door behind the chair opened. A man entered, no mask. That's what made it worse. He was normal, too normal, beige hoodie, hands in his pockets, face emotionless. He walked up to the man in the chair and slowly pulled the hood off. The victim gasped for air, blinking under the harsh lights. There was duct tape over his mouth, a trickle of blood from his ear. He looked straight into the camera, straight at me. Then the chat appeared, silent, scrolling. Observer row 3, he's awake. Sutures. Lasted longer than the last one. Observer D4, host 74 ready, begin. Red admin, you are not a guest, you are part of the show. I tried to exit, nothing worked. Alt plus F4, task manager, hard shutdown, nothing. A prompt appeared. Would you like to interact? Yes, what, no, I clicked no. The screen pulsed red. The man in the hoodie stopped, turned to the camera, then tilted his head, just a few degrees, like a dog hearing something strange. The duct-taped man began to cry. The stream glitched for less than a second. Then a new message flashed. No, yes. I ripped the Ethernet cable out. Still didn't stop. My laptop began making a low-pitched hum, screen glitching in and out, showing flashes of other rooms. Rooms 01 through 73, all of them nearly identical. All of them ending the same way. Blood pooled into drains, chairs left empty, viewers watching, and the hosts always looked normal. Like they could be your neighbor, a barista, a teacher, or me. The final image that night was a still frame of the man in the chair, face broken, mouth open in a silent scream. The timestamp read, "Session complete, observer 015 logged." The next morning, my laptop wouldn't boot. Every screen in my apartment, TV, phone, even my microwave clock, blinked the same number. 74. At exactly 3:03 a.m., my Alexa turned itself on and whispered, "Do not click anything you cannot close." I threw everything out. Devices, cables, drives, gone. Bought a burner flip phone, deleted all social media, moved to a sublet on the other side of the city. I didn't touch a computer for 2 weeks. Then one night I got a knock at the door. There was no one there. Just a flash drive on the doormat. Unmarked. I left it alone for days, tried to forget. But every time I blinked, I saw that man in the chair. And eventually, I plugged it in. It autoplayed a file. Stream 75odd ready.mp4. Footage began, grainy, flickering. A new room, identical to before. But this time, the victim had my face. Not a look-alike, not a simulation. Me. Black bag over the head, duct tape across the mouth. Then a voice, distorted and mechanical. "Welcome, host 75. Your viewers are waiting." A new chat appeared. Observer 0016. Looks just like the guy from last session. Red admin. Because he is. Host Unit 5. Begin. Then I saw my hand. In the frame, reaching for a scalpel. I threw up. Smashed the flash drive. Cried on the floor for an hour. But nothing stopped it. Every night since, something changes. First, the voice started reading from the chat. Then the shadows in my apartment moved wrong. Now, when I close my eyes, I'm back in the white room. Sometimes in the chair. Sometimes not. I tried confessing. To a priest. To the police. Even to my mom. No one believes me. How could they? There's no evidence, no files, no malware, nothing. Just the memory of watching. That's all it takes. Last night, I got an email from a burner address. No subject. Inside, one sentence. "The new stream starts tonight. You will make your first cut." Attached, a JPG. It was a photo of you, reading this right now. The glow of the laptop screen was the only light in Ethan's cramped apartment, casting long shadows across the peeling wallpaper. It was 2:37 a.m., and the world outside was silent, save for the occasional hum of a passing car. Ethan, a 23-year-old computer science dropout, rubbed his bleary eyes and leaned closer to the screen. He'd been browsing the dark web for weeks now, not out of malice, but out of a restless curiosity that gnawed at him like an itch he couldn't scratch. The surface internet had grown stale, endless algorithms curating his every click. The dark web, though, was raw, unfiltered, a digital wilderness where anything could happen. He'd started small. Forums discussing conspiracy theories, marketplaces selling knockoff electronics, and the occasional whistleblower thread. But tonight, he'd stumbled across something different, a link buried in a thread titled, "Streams You Shouldn't Watch." The post was vague, warning users to avoid a site called The Red Stream without explaining why. Naturally, Ethan's curiosity spiked. He copied the Onion link, pasted it into his Tor browser, and hit enter. The page loaded slowly, each pixel seeming to crawl into place. The site was minimalist, a black background with a single line of red text in the center. The Red Stream, watch at your own risk. Below it was a button labeled Enter. No ads, no pop-ups, just an eerie simplicity that made Ethan's stomach twist. He hesitated, his cursor hovering over the button. The warnings from the forum echoed in his mind, users claiming they'd seen things that changed them, others saying they'd been followed after watching. But Ethan was skeptical. The dark web was full of hoaxes, right? Just edgy kids trying to scare each other. He clicked. The screen flickered, and a video feed appeared. It was grainy, like an old VHS tape, showing a dimly lit room with concrete walls and a single metal chair in the center. The chair was empty, but the room felt wrong. Too still, too silent, as if the air itself was holding its breath. A faint hum buzzed through Ethan's headphones, low and rhythmic like a heartbeat. He leaned closer, squinting at the screen. Was this it? Just an empty room? Then, movement. A shadow shifted in the corner of the frame, so subtle Ethan thought he'd imagined it. His heart skipped. He paused the stream, but the video kept playing. That wasn't right. Tor shouldn't allow that kind of override. He tried closing the browser, but the window stayed open, the hum growing louder, now laced with a faint whisper he couldn't quite make out. Okay, screw this, Ethan muttered, reaching to unplug his laptop. But before he could, the chair in the video scraped across the floor, as if pushed by an invisible force. Ethan froze. The camera panned slowly, revealing a door in the wall, a heavy, rusted thing that creaked open on its own. Beyond it was darkness, but something was moving inside. A shape, humanoid but wrong, its limbs too long, its movements jerky, like a marionette with tangled strings. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The figure didn't step into the light, but he could feel it watching, its presence pressing against the screen. The whispers in his headphones grew clearer, a jumble of voices speaking in a language he didn't recognize. His cursor moved on its own, clicking a chat window that appeared in the corner of the stream. Text scrolled rapidly, usernames in garbled symbols. XZUK9. You shouldn't be here. KVPQ. It sees you now. Sevenad Taramelo. Close the tab. It's too late. Ethan's hands shook as he slammed the laptop shut. The hum stopped, but the silence was worse. His apartment felt smaller, the shadows sharper. He laughed nervously, trying to shake it off. Just a prank, he told himself. Some hacker messing with me. But when he reopened the laptop, the browser was still open, the stream still running. The chair was back in the center, but now there was something on it. A piece of paper with red ink scrawled across it. The camera zoomed in, and Ethan's blood ran cold. The paper read, Ethan, why did you watch? He yanked the power cord from the wall, plunging the room into darkness. His heart pounded as he sat there, listening to the silence. Then a sound, a faint scrape, like metal on concrete coming from the hallway outside his apartment. He told himself it was the neighbor's cat, or maybe the old pipes. But the scrape came again, closer, deliberate. Ethan grabbed his phone, turning on the flashlight. The beam trembled as he aimed it at the door. The deadbolt was locked, the chain in place, but the scraping continued, now accompanied by a low hum, the same one from the stream. He backed away, his mind racing. Had someone hacked his webcam? His IP address? No. He'd been careful. VPN, Tor, no personal info. But the paper had his name. His name. His phone buzzed and he nearly dropped it. A notification from an unknown app, one he hadn't installed. The message read, Look behind you. Ethan spun around, the flashlight sweeping the room. Nothing, just his cluttered desk, the sagging couch, the closed window. But the air felt heavy, like someone was standing just out of sight. He checked the phone again, and a new message appeared. You invited it in. Panic clawed at him. He ran to the door, double-checking the locks, then grabbed a kitchen knife and barricaded himself in the bathroom, the only room without windows. He sat on the cold tile, clutching the knife, his phone's flashlight casting stark shadows. The hum was gone, but the silence was suffocating. He tried to rationalize it. Malware, a prank, maybe a neighbor overheard his name, but the messages, the paper, the figure in the stream, it felt too real. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time blurred in the dim light. Ethan's phone buzzed again, and against his better judgment, he looked. A video was downloading unprompted. He tried to stop it, but the screen ignored his taps. The video played. The same concrete room, the same chair, but now the camera was outside his apartment door. He recognized the faded number 4B on the peeling paint. The camera panned down, showing a shadow stretching under the door, long and wrong, like the figure from the stream. Ethan stifled a scream. He dialed 911, but the call wouldn't connect. The signal bars were full, yet every attempt failed. The video looped, the shadow growing larger each time, as if whatever was out there was pressing closer. He texted his friend Marcus, begging him to come over, but the message wouldn't send. The phone buzzed again, and a new message appeared. Open the door. He didn't. He couldn't. But the scraping started again, louder, right outside the bathroom. The door rattled, not like a knock, but like something testing the hinges. Ethan gripped the knife, his knuckles white. The hum returned, now inside the room, vibrating in his chest. The bathroom mirror reflected his terrified face, and something else. A shadow behind him, just for a second, gone when he blinked. He didn't sleep. Dawn came, gray light seeping under the door. The scraping stopped, the hum faded. Ethan waited hours before emerging, knife in hand. The apartment was empty, the laptop still unplugged, its screen dark. He checked the door. No signs of tampering. His phone showed no trace of the messages or the video. Relief washed over him, but it was fragile. He deleted Tor, reformatted his laptop, and swore never to touch the dark web again. Days passed, and life crept back to normal. Ethan avoided his computer, sticking to his phone's Surface apps. He told Marcus about it over beers, laughing it off as a bad trip, though his eyes darted to the bar's shadows. Marcus didn't buy it, but didn't push. Ethan started sleeping with the lights on, checking the locks obsessively. He told himself he was fine. Then a week later, he got a package. No return address, just a plain brown box on his doorstep. Inside was a USB drive, unlabeled. His hands shook as he plugged it into an old offline laptop he borrowed from Marcus. A single video file loaded automatically. It was the concrete room again, but this time, Ethan was in the chair, bound, gagged, his eyes wide with terror. The camera zoomed in on his face, but it wasn't a recording. It was live. He was watching himself, sitting in his apartment, staring at the screen. Behind him, in the video, the door creaked open. A shadow stretched across the floor, long and wrong. Ethan spun around, but his apartment was empty. The hum started again, low and rhythmic, coming from everywhere and nowhere. His phone buzzed and a final message appeared. "You can't stop watching. He hasn't been seen since." I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't even deep diving like I used to. For years I had poked around the darker parts of the internet, just out of curiosity. I'm not a hacker. I can barely code beyond HTML. But I knew how to access Tor, how to hide my IP, and how to find old, dead links that led nowhere. Until one didn't. It was on a ghost forum called Evergrave, a thread with 0 replies, dated 3 years ago, recently bumped by a user with no profile picture and a username written in Cyrillic. The post simply said, "It's active again, Streamlore72. And then, the link, Redvein72 Onion. I stared at it for a while. I hadn't used Tor in months. It always left me feeling like I'd scraped something toxic off the underside of reality. But I clicked it. The page loaded instantly. No browser lag, no CAPTCHA, just blackness. Then text appeared. "Welcome, observer. You may watch, you may vote, you may not leave." There was no option to decline. The page moved forward on its own. A video player blinked into existence. It was a live stream. The room on screen was small. Cracked cement walls, a flickering overhead bulb, a drain in the center of the floor, a steel chair bolted down, a bucket next to it. The only other feature was a single red door with a black handle. A man was seated in the chair, gagged and blindfolded, head drooping forward. He was breathing heavily. Beside the video feed, a chat window lit up. Butchered smile. "It begins." Artery Fox. "Been waiting." Host 72. "Session starting now." Username 184. "New meat looks weak." Then a ding sound, and a poll appeared. What happens first? Cut ear? Burn skin? Remove toenail? Wake him gently. Votes flooded in. Cut ear won instantly. I didn't vote. I didn't touch anything. I couldn't look away. The red door opened. A figure entered wearing a cracked porcelain mask. They carried a small black toolkit and walked without urgency. They approached the man, gently tilted his head, and started cutting. The man screamed, a raw animal sound muffled by the gag. Blood poured down his neck. I pressed escape, Alt plus F4, power button. Nothing worked. The page blinked red. Do not look away. The masked figure paused and turned, not toward the camera, toward me, as if they could see me through the screen. I shut the laptop and threw it across the room. It cracked. The fan buzzed. The stream cut out. But that night, at 3:03 a.m., my phone vibrated. No number, just a message. "You were seen. Stream 73 will begin soon." I deleted it, pulled the battery from my phone, went to bed shaking. I dreamed of the room, of the red door slowly opening, and something whispering from the darkness. "You watched. Now they will watch you." I didn't sleep the next night. or the next. Still, at 3:03 a.m., every screen in my apartment blinked on. The cracked laptop, my smart TV, even my microwave's digital clock began flickering. And on each one, the words, "Now streaming." I saw myself, through the feed, sitting in my living room. Motionless, observed. I moved in with my brother 2 towns over. Didn't explain. Just said I had electrical problems. He didn't ask many questions. I turned off every screen at night, even covered mirrors. But on the 5th day, it came back. A new device, a baby monitor in the guest room, lit up at 3:03 a.m. No baby in the house, just the red door, opening and something crawling out of it on all fours. I unplugged it and smashed it against the wall. My brother found me the next morning, curled in the corner whispering, "I didn't vote," over and over. He made me see a doctor. They diagnosed me with sleep paralysis, delusions, tech-induced psychosis. But I knew what I saw. One night I used my brother's PC while he was asleep. I logged in. Back to redvein72.onion. It opened instantly. The stream was live, only this time the victim in the chair was Mike, my college roommate. We hadn't spoken in years, but it was him. Eyes swollen shut, blood leaking from his nose, one hand missing. And yet he was alive. The chat erupted. Host 72, surprise observer, butchered smile. Look familiar? Artery Fox, one more session, one more chair. Host 72, yours? The screen blinked. A map appeared. Marked, observer coordinates acquired. Below it, red door in transit. I destroyed the computer. Took a bus to the next state. No phone, no ID, paid in cash. Rented a motel room under a fake name. Still, at 3:03 a.m., the motel room TV turned on. The stream was already playing. The room was no longer concrete. It looked like the motel room. Same carpet, same curtains, same cracked lamp, and the steel chair. Empty, waiting. The chat scrolled in silence. Only one message. Host 72. Come sit down. That was 2 weeks ago. I don't know how much longer I have. They don't need wires or Wi-Fi. They only need you to look. The moment you see the stream, you're in it. You're on their side of the screen. I don't know where I am anymore. Sometimes I wake up and my hands are stained red. Sometimes I hear knocking on the inside of the mirror. And sometimes I feel the chair beneath me. Bolted to the floor, my mouth gagged. My eyes blindfolded. The red door creaking open behind me. Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't scare you too much. If you like my stories, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. See you next time.